Now listen to this. I'm going to explain this the best I can. This is what it says in Acts 16, 2-3. And Paul took Timothy and circumcised him because of the Jews who were in that region, for they all knew his father was Greek. Okay, this is shocking. We have some breaking news, breaking service announcement. Paul, what are you doing, dude? You just got done. Like, just think about this. I don't know if you guys ever caught this. Paul just got done arguing, debating that the Gentiles don't have to be circumcised. Like, we don't need to circumcise anymore. And now Paul finds Timothy and goes, I want you to be with me. Let's get you circumcised. And this is why, because of the Jews that were in that region. So this is shocking. Why are you doing this, Paul? It seems to be like Paul was doing a 180. We don't all fully know why. I could give you some ways of what I've studied and what I believe. Many people say Paul did this in order to really reach the Jews who believe that you had to be circumcised. So basically, Paul is willing to preach to these Jews. He's willing to accommodate on a non-essential doctrine or a non-essential thing to reach them. So Paul's like, look, it's not going to hurt. Well, I shouldn't say that because it is going to hurt to get circumcised. But Paul's like, again, I can't say that because it does hurt. But Paul's like, all right, let's just get you circumcised just so they're going to listen to you. But the question is, why would Timothy submit to this? Now, Paul didn't force him to do it. Timothy submitted. One writer says it was to show the Jews that you don't have to stop being Jewish just because you follow Christ. And he wanted to gain credibility with the Jewish people to reach them. At the end of the day, and this is my consensus, the end of the day, only God knows the exact reasons. We could all jump to conclusions, but the passage makes it seem like Paul was not being a hypocrite necessarily, which in essence of the definition, you could call Paul a hypocrite in this sense, because he just got done debating, you don't have to be circumcised. Now he circumcised Timothy. But the other sense is Paul says, become all things to all men that you may win them to the Lord. So Paul is saying, look, if this is why they'll listen to you. Now I have done small things in my life to get people to listen to me. And those things are not things I've done to sin or to compromise, but actually the opposite, okay? So for example, one of the reasons why I have 0 tattoos, even though I'm not even gonna say anything about it. I'm just gonna say this, okay? I gotta be careful what I say here because there's a lot of people listening. I have no tattoos. Here's why. Not because I have a certain passage in the New Testament that says you can't have tattoos. I have no tattoos because I know that if I'm preaching on a stage of, let's just say 2,000 people, and there's somebody that's older or younger that doesn't believe Christians are allowed to have tattoos. They believe it's a sin, which I can't tell you either or because I don't have a New Testament reference for it. But let's just say, and they look at Isaiah preaching on the stage and he has a sleeve of tattoos and I'm preaching, right? That I got after I became a Christian, right? You got him before, obviously, but I got him after. And in their mind, they go, oh, I'm not listening to this preacher. I want nothing to do with this guy because he has tattoos and that's worldly and that's a sin. Now, what they're saying might not be true, but I know that because of my tattoos, they won't listen to me preach. So I won't get tattoos in order to become all things to all men and to reach them. So the things that I've done in life are not because I'm, doing things wrong to try to reach people. It's actually doing things, and I'm not trying to be arrogant or proud when I say this, but I'm actually doing things extra right so that people will hear me preach. Let me give you another example. And this is funny. It's weird. I had what was it called? Not a reverse mohawk, but I had like a faux hawk for like 6 or 7 years, right? My hair did this and then it went back like that and faded down to like a mohawk in the back, right? One day I was sitting in a church and there was a bunch of old people sitting behind me, well-seasoned veterans in the faith, and I could feel them judging me, okay? Because here I am, this young guy, I'm already young, I'm already loud, I'm already Italian, I already have veins popping out, I'm already wild running around the stage, and here you have this young guy coming into their church as a guest speaker with a mohawk in the house of God, right? So I felt the judgment, and in my mind I thought, okay, and this is just me, again, you call me religious, it's okay, I don't care, but I thought in my mind, if I just got my hair a regular fade, right, military style, I know that these older people would listen to me more if I did that. So to be all things to all men, even though it's not a sin to have a mohawk, I just went ahead and did it. So guys, here's my point. There's areas of our life that we do certain things to accommodate certain people. And in this case, Paul was now this is a big difference between getting your hair cut and getting something else cut, okay? But Paul was willing to get him circumcised That's another reason why I got a Bible college degree, not because I'm like, oh, I need to have a theology degree, because I know there's people that will not listen to me if I don't have a degree, but then now they know I do, they'll listen. So it's just to be able to reach people. Now, I'm not saying you go to a bar and drink with people because you want to reach them. Go to the club and drink with people because you want to reach them. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is Paul was doing this to reach these Jews. And again, you could ask Paul when you get to heaven what you think about this, but that's what happened, okay? Acts 16, 4 through 10. And as they went through cities, they delivered them to the decrees to keep, which were determined by the apostles and elders in Jerusalem. So the churches were strengthened in their faith, and they increased in numbers daily. Now, when they had gone through, and again, if I'm pronouncing these wrong and you're a Greek scholar, just forgive me. Okay, you'll be okay. You'll be fine. And as they had gone through Phrygia and the region of Galatia, they were forbidden by the Holy Spirit to preach the word in Asia. Verse 7 of Acts 16. After they had come to Mysia, they tried to go to, I can't say any of these, Bithynia, but the Spirit did not permit them. So it's like they're trying to go preach, but the Holy Spirit's not letting them. And verse 8, so passing by Mysia, they came down to Troas, and a vision appeared to Paul in the night. A man of Macedonia stood and pleaded, saying, come over to Macedonia and help us. Now, after he saw the vision, immediately he sought to go to Macedonia, concluding that the Lord has called him to preach the gospel there. So here you have, again, are you guys noticing the theme? I don't know how to pronounce them, all right? Get over it. Here's the theme. The theme is they're led by the Holy Spirit, and they were forbidden by the Holy Spirit to preach in Asia. They're forbidden to go to Bithynia, and the Holy Spirit's not letting them go to certain places. Now, how did the Holy Spirit stop them? Was it sickness? Was it a word of prophecy? Was it an uneasy feeling? Was it plans failing? We don't know how the Holy Spirit stopped them in the natural, in a practical sense, but we know that God's Spirit was guiding them. So guys, here's my word reading this. If a door closes for you, take it as the Holy Spirit saying, don't do that or don't go there. There's been moments where I've been heartbroken, cried, saying, God, why didn't this work out? Is there something wrong with me? Why didn't that door open? But then later on realizing it was the Holy Spirit prohibiting me from preaching in certain places. I've had churches, okay, I gotta be careful here because there's a lot of people watching, but let's just say I've had situations not work out where I went to certain churches or doors closed at certain churches. Later finding out it wasn't me that was wrong, it was them that was wrong, and the Holy Spirit was actually forbidding me to preach there for reasons. Like I've had ministers that I wanted to connect with, the Holy Spirit forbidded me, and then a month, 2-3 months later, that comes out they fell from sexual immorality or something, or they're doing something crazy, and then I'm like, wow, in the moment, I felt heartbroken because I wasn't able to make that connection. This is years ago, but in the spiritual sense, the Holy Spirit was prohibiting me or not letting me preach there or go there. So this is what happened to Paul. God was closing the doors to Asia, not letting him go. Now, all of a sudden, Paul has a vision in the night of a man of Macedonia saying, come over to Macedonia and help us. And Paul concludes that the Lord is calling him there. Now, if you said today you had a vision at night and God told you to go preach here or do this, religious people would call you crazy. They would say, God doesn't speak in dreams or visions. You're just being too spiritual. But this is being led by the Spirit. People who are cynical of visions, dreams, supernatural miracles, deliverance, don't see them. Let me say that again. If you're cynical towards miracles, deliverance, dreams, visions, you're not going to see them or have them. God does not move where people tolerate him, reject him, or deny him. He moves where people celebrate him, accept him, and worship him. So for example, people say, I don't believe in tongues. It's not real. If it was real, God would give it to me. But maybe your unbelief is the reason God doesn't give it to you. Maybe you don't see demons cast out because you don't believe in it. People say, Isaiah, I'm scared of deliverance happening in my church. I'm scared of seeing it. And my response is, don't worry, you won't see it. If you're scared of it, if you don't want to see it, if you're afraid of the supernatural, don't stress, don't worry, because you won't see it. It's not see it to believe it. It's believe it to see it. That's why Paul says desire spiritual gifts, okay? Something very interesting happens in Acts 16:10 because the wording changes from we, which would be Paul and Silas, to us, okay? So the language has been we, which is Paul and Silas. How many know we means me and one other person? But now in Acts 16:10, the language changes to us. So who's the third person joining Paul and Silas? It's Luke, okay? Luke would now be giving an eyewitness account for most of the rest of the book of Acts. So that subtle change in Acts 16:10 from we to us that most people don't catch, that's actually Luke joining in on the missionary journeys. And now Luke is writing, who's the writer of Acts, if you didn't know, the Dr. Luke. He's not just writing from stories he's heard or translated from this person, that person. He's giving firsthand accounts. So that's a little tidbit there, free nugget for you.